Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Week 8 of College Football Picks. About at the halfway point of the season, and man, we've had some interesting developments in the past few weeks. Last week wasn't really that marquee of a week in terms of what happened. We'll start with the top 10. Let's just start with the top 10. Last week, I think only one top 10 team of mine lost, and it was Iowa. Just laying an absolute egg at home against Purdue. My God, that was horrible. Horrible performance. Spencer Petras threw 4 interceptions at Iowa. Just laid a giant egg at home against Purdue. So they fell from number 2 in my rankings all the way to number 10. I have to keep them ahead of Penn State because they beat Penn State. Penn State was at 10. So they dropped to 11. New to the top 10 this season, flying completely under the radar, but I think got put on everyone's radar last week, is Oklahoma State. They were undefeated. They didn't really have that many great wins, though. They had beaten Baylor, but it's kind of just like, I need to see a little bit more. And they're like, on the road at Texas. I was like, I don't think they're going to come out on top. I think Texas is going to win that one. Well, Texas completely imploded just like Oklahoma did. So Oklahoma State jumps into the top 10. What I decided to do is put all the teams with no losses, or all the teams that I had with no losses, above the one-loss team. So the top 6 teams are all undefeated, and the bottom, the 7, 8, 9, 10, they all have one loss. I'm like, I got to put undefeated teams. I have to give them the precedent over the no-loss teams. And I have to keep Oregon ahead of Ohio State because, they beat Ohio State regardless of their horrible struggle win against Cal. My God, that was bad. I still got to keep Oregon there above Ohio State. And the same thing with Iowa and Penn State. I can't be putting Penn State above Iowa when, Iowa beat Penn State. Michigan and Michigan State are trending towards a game of the century type ordeal next week. Michigan State, they're on a bye. They don't play this week. If Michigan could beat Northwestern, which they should, they're going to have one of the biggest games of the year to help decide the Big Ten East. And then Ohio State plays Penn State next week. Probably equally as important of a game, although it's not I guess it's kind of a rivalry game, but it's not as big of a rivalry as Michigan State. So that's that. Georgia stays atop at number 1 after a big dominating win over Kentucky. Cincinnati, they just keep winning, man. They just keep winning. Absolutely demolished UCF at home. And honestly, if I had to put money on it right now, I'd say they're making the college football playoff. I mean, they've just looked absolutely amazing. I think there's an argument to put them at number 1. I'm not going to put them there, but if you put Cincinnati at number 1, I wouldn't call you insane. How about that? But it's crazy. Oklahoma, now I had some major concerns with Oklahoma, but they went out, they beat Texas, and I'm like, okay, what are they going to do now that Caleb Williams played so much better than Spencer Rattler? I'm like, they have to start him, right? They have to. Well, they did against TCU and dropped 55 points. So I'm starting to believe a little bit more in Oklahoma now that they have a good, competent quarterback. Besides that garbage can, Spencer Rattler. I think Oklahoma's on a bye. No, they play Kansas, but that's basically a bye week. Kansas is horrible. So they should be okay, but this playoff is going to come down to the wire, man. I'm excited to see the developments that we have later on. Last week, 15-11 on picks. My worst week probably so far this year. Overall, we're 132-48. That's 73%. Not bad. 2 feature games. Oregon, UCLA. That is where College Game Day will be headed. UCLA trying to spoil Oregon's Pac-12 hopes. And not only that, they have a chance to make the Pac-12 championship game themselves. That will be a very good game. Then Ohio State and Indiana. It was a little bit hard finding another feature game. I thought maybe Oklahoma State, Iowa State could be a good one. I thought that was really the only other one that I thought of. I'm like, maybe Tennessee, Alabama, since it's a rivalry, but I'm like, nah, or maybe Utah, Oregon State, that's a big Pac-12 matchup, but I'm like, nah, it's got to be Indiana. We'll talk about that game later. I might be going to that game. I might be going to Indiana, Ohio State. I'll let you know if I am, but I'm thinking of going to Indiana for college, so I kind of want to take a visit sometime, and when they're playing Ohio State, that'd be pretty cool. If they pull off the upset, rush the field. Okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I've been beating around the bush on these picks. But yeah, let's get into it and see what we have in store this week. Coastal Carolina going on the road to face App State. Now, I feel like a lot of people are going to pick App State in this game. I wouldn't. They got killed by what's their names? By Louisiana Lafayette. They're not the App State. They're kind of like UCF. They're just not as good as they've been in past years. So I take Coastal Carolina big. SMU and Tulane. SMU is looking. I feel like they need to keep winning, obviously, because they want to win. But they have a matchup with Cincinnati later in the year. If they can go into that game undefeated, SMU might be ranked in the top 15. Maybe they're ranked in the 20s now. If they keep winning and they go undefeated into that Cincinnati game, they could be ranked pretty highly. And obviously, they're going in to win that game. I think they'll take care of business against Tulane. And now the aforementioned Cincinnati takes on Navy. Should be an easy win. Navy is, well, they're just not good. I think they're 1-5 or 2-5. They've looked bad this year. Cincinnati should roll. Same with Oklahoma and Kansas. Kansas is just a perennial sewage dweller. So Oklahoma should roll in that one. Northwestern and Michigan, again, Northwestern. They did get a win against Rutgers, which I think for this, Northwestern, they're good every 3 years because they wait till their whole team is seniors, and then they dominate, or at least try to. This is not a very good Northwestern team, but they did get a win against Rutgers. Michigan should be able to take care of them at home. Illinois and Penn State, same thing. Illinois, not a great team. Lost to UTSA, who is ranked, by the way. UTSA, I saw something. It was weeks spent ranked in the AP poll. It was Texas teams ranked in the AP poll. It was Texas had 700 weeks ranked. Texas Tech and TCU both had 500 weeks ranked. And then Baylor was up there with a lot of weeks ranked. Texas Tech. Rice had a bunch because, Rice used to be good. And then it's UTSA. 1. This is their first ever week rank. Enjoy it. We'll get to UTSA later, but I'll take Penn State. Wake Forest and Army. Man, how long can Wake Forest keep the train going? They're somehow still undefeated. They play Army this week. Army took a loss against Wisconsin. I think they're going to take another one against Wake Forest. I'm just waiting. What if Wake Forest goes undefeated? That'd be interesting. Would they put it? Part of me thinks, right? Okay, I get they're a major conference team, right? Part of me just thinks that part of me just thinks they're not putting in Wake Forest no matter what they do. I feel like they'd put in Cincinnati before they put in Wake Forest. But hey, Wake Forest has to keep winning, and then we'll talk about playoffs for them. But let's pump the brakes. I think they should be able to beat Army. Arkansas Pine Bluff and Arkansas, I guess, in-state rivalry, I guess. I don't know. I'll take Arkansas. Wisconsin and Purdue. Now, Purdue has the big emotional win against Iowa. I'm going to say they're going to suffer from a massive hangover. I'm going to say that they're just going to come into this game unprepared for a Wisconsin team that's hungry for a win. They need to start getting some wins if they want to be, thought of as a decent team again. I think that Purdue's going to come in kind of lackadaisical. Wisconsin's favored in this game, and I think they're going to win. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Now, I feel bad to do this, but I'm just not a believer in Oklahoma State. That Texas win, I know it looks great on paper, but there were some things that stuck out to me in that game. They let Texas get off to a big lead early, and the only reason they got kind of back into the game was because of a fluky little pick six. Texas quarterback just threw a horrible pass, and they took it back. That kind of got them back into the game. I don't know. I'm not impressed with Oklahoma State. They got to go on the road to play who I think is still a pretty good Iowa State team, and Iowa State has been known for upsets in the past. I know they got upset earlier in the year, but I think this team thrives under an underdog mentality. And at home, I like the matchup for Iowa State, and I'm going to take them. I think that's this week's big upset, is Oklahoma State loses out on a possible undefeated season in Ames, Iowa. BYU and Washington State. BYU has suffered 2 straight losses. I've picked them in both weeks. But Washington State's just a bad team. They're just not good. They just fired their coach because he refused to get vaccinated. So I'm going to take BYU. LSU and Ole Miss. Ole Miss survived the Lane Kiffin Mustard Golf Ball Bowl. God, what a disgrace from the Tennessee fans. Now, in Tennessee's defense, there are a lot of fan bases that would do the same thing. Of course, it just had to be Tennessee. But anyway, LSU, they just fired Ed Orgeron. No more Ed Orgeron. They say he's going to finish the year, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know. Ole Miss should be able to win at home with Metcalf. Now, Ole Miss only has one SEC loss. If Alabama loses another game, which, I mean, they might, Ole Miss would win the West. If they would have to win out, though. If Alabama, I think the only game I could see Alabama losing would be Auburn. That's the only team I think left that can beat them. I mean, they get Auburn's at home, maybe. We'll cross the bridge when we get there. Clemson and Pitt. This was tough. I went back and forth on this one for a while. Clemson got a miracle 3-point win over Syracuse. My God. How the mighty have fallen. The Clemson Tigers. DJ Ukulele is trash. I don't know. It's just bad times for Clemson. Pitt looks like a really good team, but I just can't pick against Clemson. Is Pitt really that good? I don't know. People have told me Pitt's really good, and I don't know. This is a coin flip for me. I feel like most people are gonna take Pitt in this game. I'm not. I'm taking Clemson. I'll take the powerhouse. I feel like you usually can't go wrong taking Clemson. So I'll take Clemson. Tennessee and Alabama. You know what? I give Tennessee some credit. They fought in that game against Ole Miss. Barely came out with a win. But their quarterback got hurt. I'm not even sure if he's going to be back. Even if he is back, they're not winning in Tuscaloosa. I mean, Alabama is... I mean, they're just too good. Tennessee, they just can't hang with them. So I'm going to take Alabama. San Diego State and Air Force. San Diego State keeps winning. They're undefeated still. I'll take them over Air Force. UTSA, like I said, they're ranked. Tough game on the road against Louisiana Tech, but I think that Sincere McCormick and the Roadrunners get it done. Nevada and Fresno State, 50-50 Mountain West game. Two good teams. I'll take Fresno State at home. USC and Notre Dame. USC's more focused on trying to get James Franklin away from Penn State than they are actually beating teams. The USC is just not good this year. I was skeptical of them to start the year, and rightfully so. I'll take Notre Dame easy. Notre Dame has actually not looked bad since they lost to Cincinnati. Cincinnati would love for them to keep winning to help their strength of schedule. Because I know Cincinnati's in a great spot right now, but they're still a group of 5 team. So they're going to need all the help they can get. Notre Dame winning is probably one of the best things they can get at the moment. So I think Notre Dame could win. Texas A&M and South Carolina. South Carolina needed a miracle. Last drive, fourth quarter miracle touchdown to beat Vanderbilt. A&M should have this one easily. NC State, Miami. Miami is just, my God, they're just a great recurring joke at this point. They're just a bad team. Every year you think Miami's going to be great, and they're never great. Their football stadium is like 30 minutes from their campus. No one goes to the games. And NC State looks like a really good team. I picked Boston College against them last week, and NC State beat them pretty handily. I'd put some respect on NC State's name. Give me the pack. Utah and Oregon State. I'm going to take Oregon State at home. They're a sneaky good Pac-12 team. They blew out USC. I think they beat someone else pretty good. I think this could be their calling out party. Utah has looked really good so far. They've had a few big wins. I think that Oregon State's going to beat them on the road. A little bit of an upset. And then West Virginia and TCU. Jeez, I really don't know. Flip a coin. TCU, sure. All right. Ohio State and Indiana. Now, I might be going to this game. Like I said earlier, I'll let you know if I am. Now, this game gives me flashbacks from when Ohio State played Purdue in 2018. Ohio State, pretty good team. Purdue, they were 3-3. Indiana's 2-4. Now, Indiana's 2. In their defense, they've played what? Cincinnati, Michigan State, Penn State, and who else did they lose to? In Iowa. They played 4 top 10 teams. Like, come on. I mean, all 4 of their losses were against top 10 teams. They get another one. It's Ohio State. Now, this is another one. Could really help out Cincinnati because Cincinnati beat Indiana earlier in the year. So if Indiana could win, It could really help out Cincinnati. But this reminds me of when Ohio State played Purdue. They were ranked second in the country. This time they're ranked fifth, I think, in the AP poll. And they're going to play an Indiana team on the road at night. It's like, all right, Ohio State's going to roll. And then night game, crowd's electric, and Purdue just laid the hammer on them. Now, I think, is this Ohio State team better than that Ohio State team? I mean, maybe. They're probably around the same caliber. I don't think Indiana is as good as Purdue. They had Rondell Moore. I mean, Indiana doesn't have a dynamic player like Rondell Moore. Michael Penix was hurt this past week. They had Jack Tuttle start, he was bad. Jack Tuttle was not good. He just wasn't good. Is Michael Penix going to be back? I don't know. I'm going to assume not. I'm going to go on. I'm going to say he's not coming back. He might, but I'm going to say that he's not. But Alabama did lose to a backup quarterback on the road in a night game, and I feel like the same thing could happen to Ohio State. I smell an upset here. I just don't have enough confidence to go with it. I mean, maybe the score won't be as bad as I have it posted at 31-6. Maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe it'll be worse. Who knows? I feel like this game could really go either way. I'd watch out for Indiana to maybe pull an upset, but I don't have enough confidence to go with it. I'm gonna take Ohio State. Now, game day is headed to Los Angeles, California, at the Rose Bowl to watch UCLA take on Oregon. Now, Oregon needs to start winning, and they need to start winning convincingly. They've been skating by these little pack. Like, they beat Cal by 7, needed a goal line stand to do so. I mean, the fact that Ohio State's ranked ahead of you and you beat them, that's sad. I don't think they should, but just the fact that they are is discouraging. So Oregon's going to need to get their act together and win the Pac-12. Even if they win the Pac-12, they still might not get in. But they have a chance to get a pretty good win on the road at UCLA. Now, UCLA, good team. They beat LSU earlier in the year. But then lost to Fresno State. And who else did they? They lost to Arizona State, too. I think Arizona State is looking like they were looking like the best team in the Pac-12 till they lost to Utah. That was a disappointing loss for Arizona State. I was on the Arizona State train. I'm like, they look really, really good. Not anymore. But so Oregon's back as I think the front runner to win the Pac. Them or Utah. But UCLA, everyone in the Pac, it used to be USC. Everyone in the Pac-12 wanted to beat USC. Got to beat USC. Now it's Oregon. Oregon's kind of the new USC. I think that UCLA has a great run game. They have Zach Charbonnet and that other really good running back. I can't remember his name, but he was running wild against like Fresno State and UCLA. I mean, again, like LSU. I can't remember his name, but Zach Charbonnet, Michigan transfer, looked really good. Oregon, now they got Anthony Brown, Travis Dye. I mean, they got a good defense with Thibodeau and a bunch of good players, but they just haven't been able to put it all together. They just haven't. Against a hungry team on the road, I smell blood for UCLA. I really do. I think this is their coming out party. I think this is their statement game. I think they're going to go out and get a win I think they're going to get a win at home when College game day is there to watch. This is going to be a thriller. But yeah, I think UCLA wins. I've just seen too many problems with Oregon, and I think this is going to be the best team they've played when said problems have occurred. And I feel like Oregon always loses to some. I know they already lost to Stanford, but like they lost to Arizona State one year where they were really highly ranked and could have made the playoff. They lost to Arizona one year. I think this is UCLA's time to go out and spoil Oregon's playoff hopes. I mean, this is just why they've never won a national championship. And probably never will. Sorry, Oregon. Prove me wrong. I hope you prove me wrong. I want to see Oregon make the playoff. But, sorry. I think UCLA is going to go out and take you down. But maybe you'll win. Go prove me wrong, Oregon. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the picks. And I'll see you next time.